Hi, I'm Chanel Evans, and today I'll be talking to you about why I think the United States should legalize all drugs for recreational use. In my community, drugs are a real problem. I live in a very small community, yet the surrounding towns, you almost always come into contact with someone who is currently on drugs or has done drugs before. I personally know people who have partaken in drug activity and have heard stories about those individuals' time in prison. Prison is being overtaken by drug use and distribution. And this makes it very hard for attempting to recover addicts who are in prison and trying to make themselves a functioning member of society again. Drug use being illegal is sending a lot of small-time offenders to prison, which inhibits them from getting the proper help they need to kick their drug habit. I suggest we legalize all drugs for recreational use. Small-time drug offenders, such as someone who bought drugs or is in possession of drugs, are being put into prison for basically having a nasty habit. I do not believe that it is right to put small-time offenders in prison for struggling with a human issue. Offenders on the larger scale, such as manufacturers and distributors, have more of a reason to be in prison than those who are struggling with an issue that is only human. The American prison system is often run rampant with both drug trade and use, making it harder for addicts in the system to become clean and make themselves into healthy, functioning members of society. The environment in prison is also toxic, especially with the amount of drug addicts and alcoholics that are introduced into the prison system. A large amount of people all struggling with the same issue and not getting proper help can't be good. Proper treatment for drug addiction cannot be found in prison. Unlike rehab, prison isn't an environment where drug addicts can successfully resolve their addictions and work through their personal issues. Because drugs can easily be obtained in the prison system, it makes it that much harder for people struggling with addiction to be able to heal themselves of the vice. Whereas rehab gives you the opportunity to not only work through your addictions, but the personal issues that may have contributed to the need to seek out the release of drugs. The United States should legalize all drugs up to a certain amount. Amounts that could be considered enough to make money distributing and enough to tell that somebody was manufacturing drugs should still be illegal. This solution would work in that people who are in possession of the legal amount of drugs should still be offered a rehabilitation program in order to help them rid themselves of this bad habit and better their own lives. As well as this, distributing and manufacturing staying illegal can help the justice system to focus on them and attempt to take more hard drugs off the street, which would create less addicts and minimize the amount of small-time offenders. Oregon has implemented this solution, and the results have been inspiring. There are more addicts getting help instead of going to prison, and therefore are being able to integrate themselves back into society and lead a normal life. It is far more important to integrate former addicts back into society than to put them in prison for minor crimes. Imagine one of your family members turning to drugs in order to deal with the trauma that they have lived throughout their life, then getting put in prison for even testing positive for some form of drug. That won't happen if the United States legalizes small amounts of drugs and offers rehabilitation treatment to those who are struggling with addiction in lieu of prison. If we are able to help those who are struggling with addiction as well as crack down on drug dealers and manufacturers, we will have more functioning members of society and less drugs on the street, in turn lowering the rates of death by overdose. The United States would be better with this implemented. Legalizing these small amounts of drugs recreationally, but focusing on taking down dealers and manufacturers, will improve our society and lower death rates in America. If you or your loved one were addicted to drugs, wouldn't you want them to get help instead of going to a place that can make the issue worse? Let's make a change and legalize small amounts of drugs recreationally in order to make America a better society. Thank you.